What if I told you that one simple mistake made by millions of couples every single day could be the reason so many women never experience complete satisfaction? And here's the shocking part. Most people have no idea they're making it. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could completely change the way you think about female pleasure. For years, people believed that female orgasm was mysterious, complicated, or simply impossible for many women. But modern research has revealed something fascinating. For most women, it's not about luck, it's not about age, and it's certainly not about lasting longer alone. It's about understanding how the female body and brain respond to stimulation, communication, and emotional connection. Today, we're exploring a technique that has gained attention around the world. Some people call it the 6-minute technique. Others describe it as a more mindful approach to intimacy. But is it really as effective as people claim, or is it just another internet myth? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what the science says. Here is something that may surprise you. Many couples spend years trying harder when what they actually need is a better understanding of timing, communication, and the way female arousal naturally develops. The biggest obstacle isn't usually effort, it's misunderstanding. And once you understand the basics, everything starts to make much more sense. In today's video, we'll explain why female arousal works differently than many people think, the common mistakes that prevent many couples from enjoying intimacy, what the so-called 6-minute technique actually involves, and most importantly, what medical experts and scientific research really say about these claims. No myths, no false promises, just practical information explained in a simple way. So before you skip ahead, let me ask you one question. What if improving intimacy had less to do with doing more and more to do with understanding the female body correctly? That's exactly what we're about to explore. Let's start with one of the biggest misconceptions about female pleasure. Why do so many women struggle to reach orgasm, even in loving relationships? Why many women struggle to reach orgasm? Before we talk about techniques, we need to answer one important question. Why do so many women struggle to reach orgasm in the first place? Is something wrong with them? The answer, no. And that's one of the biggest myths we're about to break. Here's something that surprises many people. The female body doesn't usually respond the same way the male body does. For many women, arousal isn't like flipping a light switch. It's more like slowly turning up the volume on your favorite song. Every moment, every emotion, every touch gradually builds towards something much bigger. Rush the process, and the experience often changes completely. Now imagine this. You're trying to start a campfire. Would you throw a giant log onto the ground and expect instant flames? Of course not. You begin with small sparks, then kindling, then steady heat. Only after that does the fire grow stronger. Female arousal often follows a similar pattern. For many women, emotional comfort, communication, and gradual stimulation all work together before the body reaches its full response. But here's where many couples make a mistake. They focus only on the destination, instead of enjoying the journey. They worry about performance. They watch the clock. They wonder, is it working yet? The moment intimacy becomes a test, it often becomes much harder to relax. And without relaxation, the body may not respond the way it naturally can. Another factor many people overlook is stress. Think about your own life. Busy schedules, financial pressure, family responsibilities, poor sleep, anxiety. When the brain is filled with stress, it's much harder to focus on pleasure. The body is designed to respond differently when it feels safe and relaxed than when it feels tense and distracted. That's why emotional well-being can be just as important as physical stimulation. Communication also plays a bigger role than many couples realize. No two women experience pleasure in exactly the same way. What feels comfortable for one person may not feel the same for another. The healthiest couples aren't the ones who can read each other's minds. They're the ones who feel comfortable talking openly, listening carefully, and learning together without pressure or embarrassment. So before looking for a secret technique, remember this. Pleasure isn't created by one movement, one position, or one trick. It's built through understanding, patience, trust, and learning how the body naturally responds.
That's the foundation. Everything else comes after. Now that you understand why many women struggle to reach orgasm, it's time to explore something even more fascinating. What actually happens inside the female body and brain during arousal? Because once you understand the science, the so-called 6-minute technique begins to make much more sense.
The science of female arousal. Now we're getting to the most fascinating part. What actually happens inside a woman's body during arousal? Believe it or not, it doesn't begin in the body. It begins in the brain. And that's where many people completely misunderstand female pleasure. Think of the brain as the body's control center. Before the body can fully respond, the brain has to feel something first. Comfort, trust, safety, excitement, connection. Without those signals, the body may never reach its full potential. That's why experts often say the brain is the most powerful sexual organ. Now, imagine trying to dance while someone keeps interrupting the music every few seconds. It's almost impossible to find a rhythm. The same thing happens when the mind is distracted. Stress, anxiety, self-conscious thoughts, worrying about performance, all of these interrupt the natural process of arousal. The body may be present, but the mind is somewhere else. And when that happens, everything slows down. Here's something many people never learn. Female arousal isn't one single moment. It's a series of small changes happening together. Breathing becomes slower or deeper. The heart begins to beat faster. Blood flow increases to sensitive tissues. Muscles throughout the body gradually become more responsive. It's not one switch being turned on, it's an entire orchestra slowly coming together. Now let's talk about one word that changes everything: time. Many couples rush intimacy without realizing that for many women, arousal develops gradually. It's not a race, it's not a countdown. The body often needs time to transition from everyday stress into relaxation and then into pleasure. When people skip that process, they're often skipping one of the most important parts. And here's where the so-called 6-minute technique gets its attention. It's not really about the number 6. The number itself isn't magical. The real idea is slowing down, being fully present, paying attention to your partner's responses, and allowing arousal to develop naturally instead of rushing toward an outcome. That's a very different mindset from chasing a stopwatch. So now you understand the science. The brain, the emotions, the nervous system, blood flow, communication, and patience all work together. Which brings us to the question everyone has been waiting for. What exactly is the 6-minute technique? How do couples practice it? And why has it become such a widely discussed topic? Let's break it down step by step. 6-minute technique explained. Now we've reached the moment you've been waiting for. What exactly is the so-called 6-minute technique? Is it a secret method, a medical breakthrough, or is it something much simpler than most people imagine? The answer may surprise you, because it isn't about doing more. It's about doing things differently. Let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding first. The number 6 isn't magical. There's no scientific timer that guarantees pleasure in exactly 6 minutes. Instead, the idea is to slow down, remove pressure, and allow enough time for arousal to build naturally. For many couples, that's the part they've been missing all along. Imagine baking a cake. You can have the best ingredients in the world, but if you keep opening the oven every 30 seconds, the cake never bakes properly. Intimacy works in a surprisingly similar way. When you're constantly wondering, is it happening yet? How much longer? Am I doing this right? You interrupt the very process you're trying to create. The body responds best when there's patience, not pressure. So what does the technique actually encourage? First, slow everything down. Forget the clock. Forget performance. Forget trying to achieve something. Instead, focus completely on your partner's comfort. Pay attention to breathing. Notice body language. Observe small reactions. Listen. Communicate. Sometimes, the smallest response tells you far more than words ever could. Here's where many couples get it wrong. They assume intimacy is about following the same routine every time, but every person is different. What feels comfortable one day may feel different the next. The healthiest couples aren't the ones with perfect techniques. They're the ones who stay curious, who ask, does this feel okay?
Would you like me to slow down? What feels most comfortable for you? That kind of communication builds trust, and trust often helps create deeper intimacy. Now here's something truly important. Many experts believe the goal shouldn't be orgasm itself. The goal should be connection. Because when people become obsessed with reaching the finish line, they often miss everything happening along the way. Ironically, when pressure disappears, many people find it easier to relax, and when relaxation increases, the body is often able to respond more naturally. So perhaps the real secret of the 6-minute technique isn't 6 minutes at all. It's slowing down, being fully present, communicating openly, and allowing intimacy to unfold without unrealistic expectations. But there's still one major problem. Even couples who understand all of this often make a few simple mistakes that can completely disrupt the experience. And in the next chapter, I'll reveal the 5 biggest mistakes that prevent many couples from building deeper intimacy, and mistake number 2 surprises almost everyone.
The 5 biggest mistakes couples make. You can know every technique, read every article, watch every video, but if you're making these 5 common mistakes, you may be unknowingly working against your partner instead of with them. And believe me, mistake number 2 is responsible for more disappointment than almost anything else. Let's begin. Mistake number 1, turning intimacy into a performance. This is one of the biggest traps couples fall into. Instead of enjoying the moment, they're thinking, am I doing this right? How long has it been? What if I fail? The moment intimacy becomes a performance, pressure replaces connection. And pressure is one of the fastest ways to interrupt arousal. The happiest couples usually aren't trying to impress each other. They're simply enjoying being together. Mistake number 2, rushing the process. Here's the mistake that surprises almost everyone: going too fast. Many people believe the goal is to reach the finish line as quickly as possible. But for many women, the journey is just as important as the destination. Imagine watching your favorite movie, then skipping straight to the last 5 minutes. You'd know how it ends, but you'd miss the entire story. Intimacy works the same way. When couples slow down, talk, laugh, relax, and enjoy the experience, everything often feels more natural. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give your partner is your patience. Mistake number 3, not communicating. Here's a question. How can someone know what you enjoy if you never tell them? Every person is different. Every relationship is different. No one can read minds. The strongest couples ask simple questions. Does this feel comfortable? Would you like me to slow down? What do you enjoy most? Those conversations may feel awkward at first, but they're often the foundation of trust. And trust creates emotional safety. Without emotional safety, physical intimacy often becomes much more difficult. Mistake number 4, ignoring emotional connection. Many people focus only on physical touch, but emotional connection often begins long before the bedroom. Kind words, respect, affection, listening, feeling appreciated. These moments build emotional closeness throughout the day. For many couples, that emotional closeness naturally carries into physical intimacy. When one is missing, the other often becomes more difficult. Mistake number 5, chasing perfection. Here's the final mistake. Believing every intimate experience has to be perfect. Real relationships don't work that way. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll feel distracted. Some days everything flows naturally. And some days it won't. That's completely normal. Healthy intimacy isn't about perfection. It's about learning, growing, and enjoying the journey together. Transition to final chapter. So what's the biggest lesson from today's video? It isn't a secret technique. It isn't a magic number. And it certainly isn't 6 minutes. In our final chapter, I'll share the one message every couple should remember if they want a healthier, happier, and more satisfying relationship. So, after everything we've discussed today, what's the biggest takeaway? It isn't a magic technique, it isn't a special position, and it definitely isn't a stopwatch. The real secret is something far more powerful: understanding each other. The happiest couples don't have a perfect relationship. They have honest conversations. They laugh together. They respect each other's boundaries. They listen without judging. And they understand that intimacy isn't just something that happens at night. It's built through hundreds of small moments during the day. A smile, a hug, a compliment, holding hands, feeling appreciated. These simple moments create emotional closeness long before physical intimacy begins. Here's something worth remembering.
The strongest relationships aren't built on passion alone, they're built on trust. Trust allows people to feel safe, and when someone feels safe, they're more likely to relax. When they relax, communication becomes easier, connection becomes deeper, and intimacy often becomes more natural. In many ways, trust is the foundation that everything else is built upon. If there's one habit I'd encourage every couple to practice, it's this: never stop learning about each other. People grow, needs change, life changes, health changes. The couple that keeps asking, "How can I support you? How are you feeling? What makes you feel loved?" is the couple that keeps growing together. Curiosity is one of the greatest gifts you can give your partner. And one more thing, please don't compare your relationship to what you see online. Movies, social media, and unrealistic expectations often create impossible standards. Every relationship is unique. Real intimacy isn't about being perfect, it's about being present, being patient, being kind, and making your partner feel valued. That's what lasts. If intimacy is changed because of pain, ongoing distress, difficulty reaching orgasm, erectile problems, or other persistent sexual concerns, don't feel embarrassed about talking with a qualified healthcare professional. These issues are common, and many have treatable physical or psychological causes. Seeking help isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you care about your health and your relationship. Sometimes the most important step isn't finding another secret, it's asking the right expert. If today's video helped you see intimacy in a new way, take a moment to like this video. It helps us create more educational content based on science, not myths. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for weekly videos about men's and women's sexual health, healthy aging, relationship wellness, medical facts explained simply, practical tips for living a healthier life. Our goal is simple: to help you make informed decisions with confidence. I'll leave you with one final thought. The most satisfying relationships aren't built in one night. They're built through trust, respect, communication, and genuine care repeated over a lifetime. The techniques you learn may help. Knowledge is valuable, but the greatest gift you can give your partner is making them feel safe, heard, respected, and loved. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.